फिर नेक्स्ट नवंबर में कब है मुझे बोलिए। कोई विष्णु, गुड आफ्टरनून। मैं शुरू कब करूंगा आप मुझे बोलिए। Yeah, oh, hello everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you. Uh, you can raise questions on this platform now. This is a live session on sociological perspectives on modernity. Uh, what we have discussed, of course, I mean, this course was offered in 2018 and January to April. What we have discussed in this, I mean, in the course on sociological perspectives on modernity, we started with thematic preliminaries. I mean, there are four uh, philosophical and political foundations of uh, uh, critical modernist paradigm in sociology. And these four philosophical and political foundations include holism or totality, reflexivity, rationality, and social movements. And then we have discussed sociological modernism through the works of Marx and Weber. And then we have discussed ultramodernism, the structuralist interpretation, through the works of Levi-Strauss and Louis Althusser. And then we have discussed society as a human creation through the works of, I mean, through the lens of Western Marxist perspective, through the works of Georg Lukács, Antonio Gramsci, and Alan Turing. And then we have discussed how to synthesize modernity and social theory through the works of Immanuel Wallerstein, Anthony Giddens, and Jürgen Habermas. And then we have discussed how to deconstruct modernity through the lenses of feminism, cultural studies, postmodernism, and so on. I mean, cultural studies, for example, if I say we have discussed cultural studies critique of modernity through the works of E.P. Thompson, Raymond Williams, and Michel Foucault. And then we have discussed a new totality. I mean, we have discussed Gandhi, Dipankar Gupta, and so on. Okay. In part, we have also discussed, I mean, Amartya Sen. Okay. I've received only one query. That is changing perspective of modernity, changing perspective on modernity. I mean, modernity also is a fluid concept. It is not rigid. It is pretty dynamic. What was modern 100 years ago is no longer considered modern today. Modernity is a set of ethos, whereas being modern is a set of traits. Okay, and in this sense, and in this sense, what I mean, that changing perspective of on modernity, that the way modernity was conceived of during the Enlightenment, or during or at the time of India's independence. Today's modernity is different because modernity also changes its contours, changes its passion, changes its dynamics based on the changing modes of production, changing changes in our intellectual and political consciousness, and so on. Okay. Now some questions I have received. Yeah. Yeah. Good afternoon, Vishnu Sunayan Mukherjee. Okay. On Gramsci, somebody is asking. Western Marxist perspective. Uh, okay. You had talked about structuralist criticism of Althusser. Can you talk in brief about his post-structuralist term? Okay, okay. You see, prima facie, uh, Althusser is never a structuralist or post-structuralist. In the context of modernity, we are talking about Althusser as a structural Marxist. Althusser, of course, was a part of Frankfurt School, critical theory, neo-Marxist, one can say. But within Marxism, he is coming under structural Marxism. Okay, that's why we have put him under ultra-modernist control or structuralist interpretation of modernity. uh, namely Levi Strauss and Louis Althusser. Mm, Um, uh, that Althusser's it's not about structuralist criticism of Althusser or his post-structuralist turn. Rather, I would like to mention that how Althusser's reflections on class, on reflections on individual self, um, or the death of the individual, death of the author. Okay, that Levi Strauss as well as Althusser's account on modernity, they provide us with a scope for uh, such structuralist interpretation of modernity. Okay, ultra modernist case. That's why I gave you the example in the during the course that um, if you have never seen, suppose I have never seen Lata Mangeshkar. Okay, but I always say that yes, I know Lata Mangeshkar, I know Sachin Tendulkar, I know Virat Kohli, I know Diego Maradona. I have not seen them, I have never interacted with them, but I know them through Lata Mangeshkar. I know Lata Mangeshkar through her songs, the way she sings. I know Sachin Tendulkar uh, uh, as a top class batsman. I know Diego Maradona as a top class footballer. Okay, but actually I don't know them, but I know them through their performances, through the ways in which they perform on the stage. That's why actually I don't know the individual, I don't know the author, but I know them through their action. Okay, death of the subject. That's why uh, if you look at what Suraj Kumar Tanti on Gramsci's prison notebooks is extremely important in this context. If you look at Western Marxist interpretation of modernity through the works of Lukács, Gramsci and Turin. In fact, Gramsci was working in Italy. He was the founder of the Communist Party of Italy, and when he was imprisoned, uh, he started writing prison notebooks. Okay, which became extremely important. Prison Notebooks was published posthumously after Gramsci's death. And if you look at uh, uh, Gramsci's reflections on modernity, okay, Gramsci's reflections on modernity are in terms of uh, uh, the role of organic intellectuals in party building, is the role of civil society. Okay, suppose for Marx, what is civil society? Marx said that uh, the, the standpoint of the old materialism is civil society. I mean, Feuerback's materialism is civil society, whereas the standpoint of the new materialism is human society or socialized humanity. That's what he wrote in thesis on Feuerback. But if you look at Gramsci's work, Gramsci provided an alternative image of civil society. Civil society cannot be reduced to only non-governmental organizations that people very often talk about. But civil society also includes intellectuals, includes academic people, includes the downtrodden, destitutes. Okay, they also and who will coordinate their activities? No, it is the role of the organic intellectuals in the party, and they have to build party in this fashion. It cannot be reduced to only NGOs. Yeah, Manoj Verma. Yeah, if is there any other question? Please raise. There are some 7 notifications. Huh? 7 notifications. 7. The middle one up. पूरा ऊपर देखिए 7 notifications. पूरा ऊपर. हाँ, sorry. अच्छा. Sir, is there a difference between ideology and discourse? Okay. 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 Alan Turent's reflections, I mean, Western Marxist interpretation of modernity. If you look at this, they were trying to, I mean, Lukács, Gramsci, Turenne, and others. They were trying to look at class as well as class conflict in particular societies in Western Europe. Okay, they did not try to homogenize class struggles. Okay, the way people thought that no, the way class struggle was there in the erstwhile USSR, Soviet Union, the same kind of class struggle will be there. In fact, Turenne provided an alternative image of class struggle, alternative image of classes, and not simply class, but class in itself and class for itself. I'm really excited by this question of Sunayan Mukherjee, that is there a difference between ideology and discourse? You see, what are ideologies and what are discourses, or what is an ideology and what is a discourse? See, ideology can never be neutral. Discourse at the same time can never be neutral. But there can be attempts to make a discourse a little neutral, but perhaps ideology can never be neutral, because the element of politics which will be very much embedded in ideology will never allow that to happen. Okay, suppose if you look at the German ideology by Marx, what are ideologies for Marx? Marx has to be evaluated on 2 fronts. Marx as an ideologue of the Communist Party and Marx as a top-notch theoretician. Marx as an ideologue of the Communist Party, he was absolutely in favor of proletarian ideology. But Marx as a theoretician, what are ideologies for Marx? Ideologies are fantasies, ideologies are myths, inverted images, echoes of material life, and so on. In quest of truth, in quest of knowledge, one must go beyond the narrow confinements of ideology. Even Marx said this while reflecting upon ideologies in general and the German ideology in particular. Okay. Uh, but when you look at discourse, that's why I said ideology can be very politically constructed in nature. But discourse is a little less political, maybe less political and more theoretical. Okay, okay. But one should not attempt to make absolute clinical or uh, or uh, one should not attempt a watertight compartment between ideology and discourse. Okay, they should not be construed as binaries or dichotomies. Okay. Uh, Suppose if I say Michel Foucault's discourse on punishment, Michel Foucault's discourse on sexuality, they are very much ideologically constructed. Okay, that's why it's very sorry, it's very important for us to understand the dynamics of the relationship between ideology and discourse. It's a very important question in the context of social science research today. Uh, but if social science research will be reduced to only ideology, perhaps we can never reach any kind of truth, whether right, left, and center. Okay, is there any other question? Is there any other question? Okay, I mean, this is the first live session in the rerun of this course on sociological perspectives on modernity. We'll have two more live sessions um, of this course on sociological perspectives on modernity. Please read them. Please go through the document, and we'll discuss. Whatever questions that you have. You can also post your questions. We can have a live session on the questions. You can also directly question. You can also raise your questions directly on this platform. I mean, live sessions. Okay, and then we'll have more discussion on the queries that you have in the next two live sessions. थैंक यू ठीक है 19 मिनट्स टाइप हुआ है और क्या क्वेश्चन